So I am looking at old, they're not television, they're public access shows of mine, cable access. This was not televised. A lot of people don't know the difference. Televised means that it was shot out like radio waves, television waves, shot out into the to the world. This was cablecast. Public access is not televised. So this is the 8th episode of the first season of my show, which was a total of 7 seasons. Towards the end of the 7th season, so I've been watching them. I'm digitizing using VLC and not digitizing. I'm trimming them. And to get an exact copy, the only way I know how to do it with this is to let it go the whole time. It has to like record like it's a VHS player. Okay. It seems insane to me, but okay. That's what I'm doing. And then it doesn't even make all the time. So I'll do an hour and a half recording and then, there's a glitch. So anyway, so I'm watching these sometimes multiple times. And I'm, because of the the dates are laid, I just was going through them in order. And then 997 is after 000. So the original ones have come up. And now I'm on the 8th one that I did, which is where I'm still friends with Alex. He's coming on the show. This is an example of where he's pushing himself on the show in a way that I don't want. But then here's the dilemma. Like, he's a popular guy. Jeff's got a show. Why would I not want people like, out of draw? Alex was nowhere near national popular, but he was locally popular for sure. He, or unpopular, he got some best crank in the Austin Chronicle kind of thing, because the Austin Chronicle people would hate him because he's classified as right wing, and then and all that. So, but this is where I'm in the phase of getting like tired, lost, not knowing what the hell is going on. So I come back and I'm like trying to find out where am I going with this? Because the previous parts I'm just sitting back. I'm not talking about this. What I'm talking about is what's interesting is seeing the evolution of the ideas. And even back here, I'm talking about proportional representation with a different spin on it, but to where you vote for the people, not the parties. But I eventually abandoned that concept entirely and say that, don't recognize the parties at all. And that's sort of what I'm saying. I'm using proportional representation, which even at this time of 1997 was a well-established term, I think. And I should have not used that term. But what I'm saying is we want representation to be proportional. Proportional representation is inherent. It is representation. Representation is, it lends itself to being proportional, obviously. If you're not proportional, it's not representative as much. But I was still using the term proportional representation and not recognizing, not that no one's aware of that term anyway, the people I'm talking to. Another issue is I'm going to people who call in to a public access show, not necessarily people who are watching, but people who call in. So the audience is a certain class of dipshit, educated or not. And this is where I get, so Alex's fans think I'm a Alex Jones clone. And so they think I'm going to support these things. So they're watching my show because Alex is on it at the beginning. Then when I'm anti-Alex, they're watching it because of hate watching me or whatever. And then, all that. But the important thing is I'm saying the words proportional representation. That is, and I'm also not, and my cousin Tom totally tries to help me. And it's great to have his advice because he was really paying attention to what I was saying and trying to communicate, and he did so perfectly. Like he says at the beginning of this, he says, maybe you should start the show with a video that explains what you're talking about, that what I mean by this. And obviously that's what should have been done. And I never did that. Yet you might think, oh, well, my defense is, oh, it takes so much effort. But why am I spending the effort to do the public access show? I come down here, I'm going to talk to people for an hour and a half, and then mid-season it goes to 3 hours. This is an enormous amount of effort. And in 3 hours, couldn't I edit together a short 3-minute video that explains what I'm talking about? So I never really did that. The intro that eventually comes about is completely incoherent. Words are flying by the screen. It's like it's the old intro with the new stuff added to it. I'm going for chaos, but the message is in there. If you wanted to stop and freeze frame, I recorded it, I guess. But it's still, even then, it's not explained, The diagrams are there, but the narrative is not. And I used to think narratives are stupid. Who is that for? Idiots? Who needs it spelled out for them? Just give me the equations. But you don't know if you have the equation right unless you read the narrative. It helps to say, okay, yeah, I do understand this completely. So I maybe 10, 20 years ago, or 20 years ago, I'm on board with a narrative, short, succinct. Everything should be succinct. The abundance of words these days, where everyone goes on and explaining everything, is amazing. But what do I do here? Where are we going with this? Look at me. But eventually, so what I'm trying to describe is not one-to-one. I don't get to one-to-one. So one-to-one representation, which is what I'm talking about nowadays. I've given up on any kind of compromise, because what I was doing was compromising. Well, what would people accept? People are not going to accept one-to-one representation. That's just too over the top for them. But the entire concept of having a multi-winner election at all is outside of the box for people. They cannot understand it. They really cannot wrap their mind around it. They think that people who are representatives should have official powers. There's armies and governments involved whenever they think about these things. So you can't pry these things from people. So anyway, so if there's so much difficult, oh, look, we got Alex Jones, Sig Heiling. But obvious satire doesn't work with left-wing fascists. I guess I am entertained by this. So one-to-one representation. That is because I eventually said, if no one's understanding what I'm saying anyway with the general concept. So eventually I stopped using the term proportional representation, probably shortly after this. And then I go to you talking about the benchmark and how do we sort through these people. So we have all these winners. How do you sort through them? The benchmark, because I thought that would be the hard part to understand. I thought the part where each person votes for a person would be easy to understand. But that, because it's outside of the nature of everything we've been brainwashed to think, is something people cannot grasp. They really don't understand what that means. So when I say the answer to the universe is forming a body of elected representatives by you choosing your representative, their minds are blown. They don't know how to think about that. They can't think about that. The words have been so brainwashed to mean other things that you can still explain over and over. No, you elect your person. You choose your representative. It goes to that person. Your voting power goes to that person. They cannot fathom it. Interesting. Well, that's permanent. Permanent, but it's patina. That's the video patina that we have. Another issue is so now AI videos are getting so good that, I don't have any of these released, so people would not believe these are real. Like Alex Jones saying, you know what, you want the solution? The people of America are evil trash. People would think, oh, I've just made that up. He would never say that. Which is interesting. I don't know, all kinds of defenses and stuff. But so what are we talking about? One-to-one representation. Yeah, eventually went to the benchmark, and then so I came up with some kind of three summaries of how you would do the benchmarking. With number of seats, the simplest, number of votes, a little more complex, but the number of votes are achieved to get the qualification, and then percentage of votes, which is sort of complex. But either way, I just kind of would say narrow down to those three. But really, there's absolute representation, pure 100% unadulterated representation, and that's one-to-one. One-to-one representation. And then I realized that is what is representation. So why am I not starting with that? That's what people need to understand. That's a true 100%, nobody's left behind, every single vote matters. The anarchist in a cave that never talks to anyone is still represented. He never has to vote, doesn't have to do anything, he's still represented. That's the perfect system, the perfection. And then from there, people can go, okay, well, how about we not have that, but we have close to it, And so I think that might be a better way, and that's what I'm doing now, is just going with that, because it's also the reality of the situation. Before you add anything to it, this is not my idea of what we should do. This is literal representation. So if you say you want a representative body, it is one-to-one representation. That's what you want. So you can call that whatever you want. You can arrive from it in any which way you want. It's not something I created. The idea is you choose your representative. That's it. I thought, so I stopped doing the show, 7 years after this, right? Or 8 years, because I took one off. And I thought, okay, surely someone will come along and we'll understand multi-winner representation, the concept of one-to-one representation. I wasn't calling it that, I don't think. But someone's going to figure it out. I mean, it has to be, because that is what the answer is. If people want representation, they're going to think about it. Someone will think about it and do it. And no one has. I haven't heard anybody talk about this. I've not heard, in just the periphery of my interest in voting and reform and all that, anybody talk about anything remotely like this. This is something we've never had in human history. Representation is something we've never had in human history. I guess that bears repeating, because people don't think of that. And what people are probably, I don't know. I don't know what's the problem with that. What are your thinking? What are your reactions to that? Are you saying that's not what represent? Okay, whatever you want to call the words, we don't have the ability to choose our elected. We don't have the ability to elect our representatives. Is my point. When you say you had two choices and you chose one of them, yes, you are electing. No one's debating that. You are electing the person, but you are not electing the person. That's not how anyone in their right mind would describe the situation. Oh, who's in charge? Oh, that guy. They give him two choices and he decides. Everyone would go, yeah. No, the people in charge are the ones who decide who the choices are. When you decide the candidates, you have the power, right? Those are the people really deciding everything that's going on. So it's word games, and you can play word games all you want and say we have an elected representative. We don't have people that we're choosing, and we don't have people that are looking out for our best interest. And the way to do that without any interference is volunteerism. You allow people to choose whomever they would like to choose as their representative, and you count their vote, you pass their voting power, and you say, okay, this guy has... Oh. See, I've got to stop what I'm doing and assess.
Oh, we can't have them around.
How are we going to deal?
Troublemaker.
What about Bo?
Well, I don't know. I'm still trying to feel him out here. What about it, Bo? Are you going to submit?
Do you care about the children?
No, so Jeff is making a double entendre. He's playing a character, but he genuinely is trying to figure out me. And he gets it more than Alex. Jeff is listening to what I'm saying. Alex doesn't listen at all to anybody. Look how I'm not even playing along, laughing. I mean, that could have been a great character. Okay, I mean, that's the thing. I wasn't. I think this was. They sprung this on me. I don't think they told me they were going to do this. Anyway, so what is this? 1 minute. Yep, I think that'll do it.
That's what his right-wing program's on Tuesday night. Then there's Jeff's show.